Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be ranking my top 10 best films of 2023. Before I get started, I do want to just list some films that I have not got a chance to see yet. I have not seen Poor Things. I have not seen Zone of Interest. I have not seen Napoleon. There's a few other things that I may have missed over the year. But yeah, for the most part, I saw as much as I could. And, you know, pretty much the major films I saw, except for Poor Things, I guess, which is the one I really wanted to see that I missed out on. But anyway, let's just get into it with the first ranking of our top 10 movies. Coming in 10th place, I know it's Oppenheimer. Now, I know everybody and their mother loved this film, and I really enjoyed it too. Like, I would even say I loved it too. I just felt like there were so many other great films that I enjoyed even more. I feel like this film, while it was great, and it's like objectively a great film and objectively well made, it sort of was like operating on a different frequency than what I was. Like, you know, the pacing of it, I guess, was a little bit not hard to follow, but it was just like, you know, it was a lot, you know, it was sort of a struggle sometimes to keep up with. And so that's the reason why for me, this film is lower down on the list than maybe it is on other people's lists. But yeah, look, the film is amazing. Like, objectively, Cillian Murphy is absolutely phenomenal as Oppenheimer. I think he will get the Oscar. I think he's pretty much a lock for at least a nomination. And I would even go as far as to say he's a lock for the win for Best Actor for an Oscar for this film, because it's incredible what he's able to do. The cast is absolutely stacked. I mean, Emily Blunt is fantastic. You know, there's Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Benny Safdie, Matt Damon. You know, it's just so many incredible actors in this film who really, a lot of them don't even get a lot of time to shine, but with what they're given, they do pretty great. So I guess that's something also that I would criticize, is that such a stacked cast, but so many of them have such little to do. And also, how can you forget Robert Downey Jr.? He also, I think, is a lock for Best Supporting Actor. I think he was fantastic, absolutely amazing. One of his best performances of his career. So yeah, I thought Oppenheimer was fantastic. Everything building up to that big moment with the bomb, I really loved it. I thought it was amazing, right? It's one of the best films of the year. But again, it was operating on that frequency that I, you know, wasn't quite on. So that's the reason why for me, Oppenheimer is number 10 on my top 10 list. Coming in at number 9, we have Anatomy of a Fall. Now, I only just watched this a few days ago. It's a half French, half English film. And it's basically, you would think it's a murder mystery, but it's not. It's basically just a film about a man who falls out the window and his wife is accused. That is the simple premise of it, and I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And the thing about it is that it subverts expectations in that you expect it to be a murder mystery, but it's not that. It's about diving into the lives and the marriage of these two people, and, you know, their relationship with their son and each other, and it was just beautiful. Sandra Hüller, I think, should definitely be in the conversation for Best Actress this year. She was fantastic. All those courtroom scenes and those monologues were fucking stunning. I really loved it. I loved the stuff with the son. He was a terrific actor, by the way. I don't know his name, but he was terrific. So yeah, Anatomy of a Fall was a great film. And even if you are left, you know, not 100% knowing the answer, you're still left, the film leaves you satisfied. So I loved it. Anatomy of a Fall. Go check it out. It's a great film. Coming in at 8th place is Priscilla, directed by Sofia Coppola. It stars Kaylee Spenny and Jacob Elordi. This film, oh my god, I fell in love with it when I watched it. And I'm someone who wasn't even the biggest fan of the Elvis film that came out last year. And so I think Jacob Elordi honestly plays Elvis maybe a little bit better than Austin Butler did. He is transcendent in this role. Kaylee Spenny is amazing. The visuals are amazing. It's so beautifully shot, and it's such a beautiful exploration of Priscilla's relationship with not only Elvis but with herself. And so I really love to watch that, and I just thought this film was fantastic. So that's why it's taking my number 8 spot on my top 10 films. In 7th place, we have David Fincher's The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender. Now, this came out, I think, in November, and I watched it immediately, and oh my god, it was brilliant. I loved it. It's one of my favorite Fincher films now. Not quite as my favorite as The Social Network. That is my favorite Fincher film, but this film was terrific. You know, it didn't get a lot of buzz, right? A lot of people were talking about it. I don't think it had a theatrical release. It sort of just came and went. But wow, this really went under the radar. It's such a fantastic film about a hitman's psychology, right? Like what's going on in his mind, how he rationalizes everything he does. You know, his personal philosophy, how he goes about life as a hitman. It was beautiful to explore. I loved everything about it. Like really, really had a great time with the film. And by the end of it, the credits song they used, I was like singing that song for days on end after it finished. I loved it. That fight scene as well was brilliant. It was so beautiful. The sound design as well, especially, was incredible. And so I thought it was fantastic. Michael Fassbender is so great as a hitman. His calm nature is just so like chilling. And yeah, I really, really loved it. I really dug this film. I thought, oh, so many twists and turns as well. Like seeing how brutal he was, the way he would just kill like innocent people was so disturbing. And to hear him justify it to himself was so interesting. And so I really, really loved that part of it. And yeah, I mean, he may be a bad guy, but he ends up getting a happy ending. And I guess some people would say that's a little unsatisfying, but I found it very satisfying. And I loved it. David Fincher's The Killer. It's on Netflix now. Go check it out. Coming in at 6th place, we have The Holdovers, directed by Alexander Payne. It stars Paul Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, and introducing Dominic Sessa, who's an actor who's never been in anything before. This is his first role. And he is the standout in this film. He is fantastic. For an actor who's never been in a film before, he is terrific. Paul Giamatti is amazing. He definitely should be looked at for the Oscar for Best Actor. But Divine Joy Randolph, I think, she is going to win Best Supporting Actress. That's what I would say. That'd be my guess. She is honestly so transcendent in this film. She is the heart and soul of this film, I feel like, and she makes this film. She is fantastic. I loved her performance. It's so subtle. It basically describes the whole film. Her performance is like a representation of the whole film. It's subtle, yet heartbreaking, right? Like it's honestly, this is one of the best films of the year. It's so terrific. It's like a Christmas film. I didn't actually know that going into it. When looking back at the poster has like a little Christmas ornament on it. So I didn't even notice that. But I didn't know this was a Christmas film until I watched it. And I just loved it. It has such a cozy nature about it. But it's such a great exploration of these humans and like their emotions. And you know, everybody knows that teacher, right? The Paul Giamatti's playing. Everybody knows that kind of asshole teacher who's like, everybody hates him. But really getting into the human nature of him. And, you know, his psychology and his life was really amazing to watch. And I loved watching the relationship between Paul Giamatti's character and Dominic Sessa's character develop throughout the film. It was really cool to see this sort of, you know, mentor-student, father-son bond, I guess, that they had, which was just, it was incredible to watch. And also the film's really funny too. It's really comedic at times, which I didn't know this was going to be a comedy, right? I didn't know anything about it going into it. And so, yeah, I had a really great time with that. And yeah, this was a really great film. Go check it out if you haven't. The Holdovers. I don't know where it's streaming exactly, but the film was fantastic. One of the best Christmas films I've seen. Like, you know, because it's so cozy. It has such an atmosphere to it that I just absolutely loved. And it truly was a great film. And I can't wait to watch it again. So yeah, The Holdovers. It's out now on PVOD. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. But yeah, go check it out if you haven't already. Taking my number 5 spot of the year is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This blew me away. I really didn't know what to expect going into it. I expected to like it because it's James Gunn. But wow, it blew me away in ways I didn't even expect or never could have thought of. It was so brilliant and so emotional and such a beautiful closing to this chapter of the MCU that I just fell in love with it. I loved the way they wrapped up everybody's character arc, and where everybody's character ends up is so fitting for their characters, and it's so beautiful, and it's kind of, this film was bittersweet to watch. Like when I go back and rewatch it, I've rewatched it a few times since it came out on Disney Plus. It's very bittersweet, like, because you know it's the end, and every moment feels so final. This film feels so final. It feels like a goodbye, and so again, it's very bittersweet to go back and watch. But it's just amazing. It's beautiful. Rocket is obviously the standout. Bradley Cooper does such a great performance as a voice actor in this. It's terrific. The High Evolutionary as a villain was fantastic. Wrapping up the relationship between Peter Quill and Gamora was so beautiful. It was so sad and bittersweet to see them not end up together. But that last line they have together of, I bet we were fun, you wouldn't believe, was so beautiful. Truly, where Drax and Nebula end up, it made so much sense, and it was just so beautiful. I cried when I watched this film the first time. You know, I mean, who would have thought that, you know, a seal in a wheelchair could make me that emotional? This film was great. It's streaming on Disney Plus now. Go check it out if you haven't already, but I don't believe you haven't seen it. Taking my number 4 spot is Greta Gerwig's Barbie, and now I know this film has its haters, but I don't care. I loved this film. This was one of the best theater experiences I've had in so long. It was just so fun to sit there and watch. We have everybody in the theater laughing. Everybody was like on the same frequency with the film, like in my theater, and it was just such a great experience. And for that, that's probably one of the reasons why it's so high up. As a film itself, it's fantastic. It is the set design, the visuals, you know, before I get into the story, are some of the best I've seen. It's truly is terrific, and I think it should be nominated for like an Oscar for production design, right? I think that is an Oscar category, right? I really hope it is, because I would sound so stupid if it's not. But it's a beautiful film. It's beautiful in the ways that it explores what it means to be human, and, you know, not just what it means to be a woman, but what it means to be a man too, you know, from Ken's perspective. And that's something I really, really dug. And the end of it was so beautiful, where Barbie becomes a human and she's holding, you know, Rhea Perlman's character's hands, and that song starts playing. It really gets me every time. It truly is amazing. And this film, people are being so stupid about it, saying, oh, it's man-hating. It's not. It's not man-hating at all. It's a film exploring what it means to be human, you know, for a man and a woman. And so I loved that. The comedy was just gold. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. You know, a lot of people are focusing on Ken as being the best thing about the film, but I think Margot Robbie and Ken's interactions together are some of the best. They have amazing chemistry, and I know that people are saying, oh, this film doesn't need a sequel. I would 100% watch a sequel immediately. I would watch spin-offs. I would watch all that stuff. I don't think it needs it, but I would watch it. It was just that good. I think this film was firing on all cylinders. I think if I had to have one criticism, it would probably be that it was shorter than I would have liked. I would have liked it to be a bit longer, you know? And I guess Will Ferrell's character was maybe a little bit unneeded. I don't know. He didn't work for me, but everything else made up for it in an amazing way. I thought America Ferrera was fantastic as the heart of the film. She definitely is, like, the heart of the film, I reckon. And, you know, her monologue is, while a lot of people hate it, I liked it. I don't care. I liked it. I thought it was so well written. It was just amazing to watch. And yeah, so I thought Barbie was one of the biggest surprises of the year. I was very excited for it, but I did not expect it to be as good as it was quality-wise, and I definitely did not expect it to make $1 billion, but it did, and the film was a triumph. So yeah, Barbie, it's out now. Go watch it if you haven't already, but again, I doubt you haven't seen it. In my third spot is May December. It stars Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman. It was directed by Todd Haynes, and this film blew me away. It really came out of nowhere. I was so surprised when I watched it. It's more subtle than all these other films I've listed. A lot of people don't even have it in their top 10, but I really loved this film. I thought Charles Melton, especially, coming off of Riverdale, gave a career-defining performance. He is going to get so much work off of this, and he will even, I think, possibly be nominated for an Oscar for this role. The way he carries himself, the way he carries the repressed trauma of a 13-year-old boy, and he carries himself like a 13-year-old boy in moments, in ways that he's unable to express emotion. I thought he was fantastic. Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore are fantastic. The way Natalie slowly transforms into Julianne Moore's character is so haunting. And then to see it all wrap up in some sort of B-movie TV film that we see at the end, it was so funny, but also so disturbing, you know? So I really enjoyed this film. Yeah, it's a great film. It really is. It's a great film that explores trauma, relationships, things like that. It's fantastic. So if you've not seen May December, go check it out. It's fantastic. Now, I was tossing up between this and my number 1 spot. I actually just switched them a few weeks ago when I finally saw my number 1 film. But my number 2 film of the year is Saltburn. This film blew me away when I watched it in theaters. I watched it when it first came out, like in select theaters, like back in like mid-November. And a lot of people on Twitter are like have been clowning on this film and like making a joke of it and saying it's not good. And I was so shocked when I saw that reaction because I loved the film when I first watched it. I thought it was so entertaining and just such a fun, like I know fun isn't the word to describe this film, but it's such a fun ride to go on. It really is. Jacob Elordi is so like magnetic as his character Felix. He really is. Jacob Elordi is the perfect person to play Felix. Barry Keoghan is one of the best actors working today, and he is so underrated. He really is. I mean, he was in one of the best films of last year as well that nobody really talks about, The Banshees of Inisherin. He was in that and he was fantastic. I think he was even nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that. He's truly a really underrated actor and he really shows off his chops here. This film is so like grotesque, seductive, visually beautiful, you know, all those things. It was just such a fucking fun ride. I loved watching it. Emerald Fennell is the director. She directed Promising Young Woman. She does a terrific job at creating this atmosphere of desire and privilege, and like the twist really, really, really surprised me. Like I sort of thought something might be going on, but I really didn't expect that twist. And yeah, some people might be saying the twist is cheap. It sort of thinks the audience is dumb. I didn't feel that way at all. I mean, I can see why they think that, but I didn't feel that way at all when I was watching it. I was really shocked by it, and everybody was fantastic. Rosamund Pike was great. Richard E. Grant was fantastic. Jacob Elordi, Barry Keoghan, even Carey Mulligan, who was barely in it, she was terrific with what she was given. So I loved this film. The cinematography is beautiful. So much of this film is terrific. I really loved it. I also loved its 2006 setting, by the way. But yeah, so Saltburn is my number 2 film of the year. It's streaming now on Prime Video. Go check it out if you have not already. Taking my number 1 spot of the year is Past Lives. I only recently watched this film, and before I did, Saltburn was my number 1 film of the year. But when I watched it, I immediately fell in love with it. It really hit me in a way I did not expect at all, and I was not anticipating. But this film is so beautiful. It's such an amazing exploration of what could have been, and you know, these relationships that we never got to explore, and what might have happened if we did. And I really loved that, and I love the way it's told in such a simple way of an old friend visiting for a week. Not even a week, I think it was like 2 days. But still, it was just so well done. The dialogue was fantastic. The relationship between Nora and her current husband was so like, not depressing, but like I really felt for him because like, you know, he's wondering what can he give her that I can't, you know. I feel like I'm not connected to you in a way of like your heritage. There's a part of you that I don't understand, that I will never understand. And so that's why he's trying to learn Korean, which I thought was really sweet and really beautiful. But yeah, I got to tell you, this film, for a romance film where the main couple don't end up together, it's really, really surprising because I sort of did expect them to end up together. I was like, is she really going to dump her husband for him? Like, that's what I was thinking. But I'm kind of glad she didn't, because again, it just further, you know, piles onto this exploration of what could have happened in our past lives, and the way it's sort of told in this Korean like expression of, you know, past lives. And in our past life we just bumped shoulders, or maybe we were married, maybe we had kids, I don't know, but we interacted in this past life, and who knows what will be in the next. I thought it was so beautiful. The cinematography also is gorgeous, and really the where they juxtapose New York to Korea was really, really beautiful. I think it was Seoul, right? That was the town, that was the city. And so I thought that was done really, really spectacularly, and I just loved it. I really loved it. I loved their interactions after so many years. I loved the way it was told earlier, because it was like through like video chat that was like back in 2006 or something, like really like, you know, oldish video chat ways of communicating and how they stayed in contact. So yeah, Past Lives is my favorite film of 2023. But anyway, that is my list for the best films of 2023. Let me know your list down below in the comments. Did you enjoy these films? What do you think of my rankings? Where would you change them? Which ones would you know, switch around? Let me know. I'm very interested to know your guys' thoughts on that. But yeah, 2023 has been a great year for film. A lot of people have said it hasn't, but it really has. We've had some of the best films in the past decade come out this year. So yeah, it's really great. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.